Does the Bible or does it not say that boy children must be marked in the flesh for the covenant, mandate for genital mutilation? Does the Jewish prayer of the Orthodox not begin or not begin? Every man must begin his daily prayers by saying to God, thank you, first for not making me a woman, second for not making me a Gentile. Women, in case you want to know, have to pray, thank you for making me what I am. Don't you see how man-made this is? How so clearly tribal and human, in the baser sense of the word, are the origins of this cult? Don't you think you can see beyond that and maybe do a fraction better? I don't know either. I mean, it's up to Larry, of course. Redneck, as he says he is. But I don't know if I would have chosen this year to bring up the treatment of children in orphanages as a defense of Christianity. I mean, okay, if you like. And I see I don't need to elaborate
1 minute.
That, but I will, all the same, just for fun. You think it's, okay, there are bad apples in every barrel. It can happen in any institution that people take advantage of children in their care. I dare say that's true. I mean, in fact, I would have to concede it's true. After all, we are members of a not particularly highly evolved primate species. That's what we know about ourselves. You can forget original sin, the problem of good and evil and suffering. All you need to know is that. We are primates, and it shows. We're half a chromosome away from chimpanzees, and it shows. There's no mystery here.
30 seconds.
But I don't think it can be I don't think it can be separated from the terrible way the Church has treated the children in its care, from the teaching, say, of Pope Benedict, that the first communion inflicted on a child must be as early as possible, that it's based on a principle of as quickly as possible annexing and dominating the child. Actually, if you know of any religion of which that sinister calculation is not true, I'd be very interested to hear about it. Why do they not want prayer in the plains, for example, in America? Why do they want prayer on the factory floor? Prayer in the trains, prayer on the stock exchange? You never know. No, why in the schools? Ask yourself that. You're halfway to seeing why it's man-made, why that's primate-made, and why that's all you probably need to know about it. There's nothing supernatural involved in this. We are left alone with our own responsibility to think. There is no fixed authority. There is no celestial, unanswerable court of appeal to which we can refer these questions. Our own responsibility cannot be taken from us. Don't trust anyone who, under any persuasion, tries to seduce you into giving that up. Thanks. By the way, there is always a material explanation for why any person in any country is a member of any one religion. If George Bush had been born in Saudi Arabia, he would be just as stupid a Muslim as he is today a Methodist. And he would be just as convinced that he wouldn't know about morality unless he was a Sunni. I underline that point. Does Christianity give you the option where it says, well, here's why I think Christianity is immoral, I'll say briefly, since Dinesh has agreed to meet me on this ground. The doctrine of vicarious redemption is, in my judgment, I'll submit it to you for your verdict, and not an amoral one, an immoral one. What does vicarious redemption say? It says, you may throw your sins upon another person and have them taken away by his torture to death. Now, comrades, brothers, sisters, of any one of you who is my friend, I might say, I'll pay your debt. You're in trouble, you have no money, I have, I'll pay your debt. Forget the debt. If you were in really serious trouble, there have been circumstances, Charles Dickens wrote about them very well in The Tale of Two Cities, I might agree to take your place in prison. I suppose, if in the case of extreme, abject, selfless love, I could offer to take your place on the scaffold, but I cannot relieve you of your responsibilities. I cannot say you didn't commit this crime. I cannot say that you are guiltless of this sin. I cannot say that you did not commit this great offense against morality. I cannot take it from you. The promise to do that is an immoral promise. So is the promise to do it by human sacrifice. Just as it is immoral for the New Testament to try and vindicate the hideous, blood-stained, genocidal, racist demands of the Old Testament, which, as you remember, had it the other way around. In this case, God demands that we sacrifice our sons to him. As if to redeem that, he says, all right, I make up for it. I'll murder and torture my son for you. What is this but what I said in my opening statement? The worst kind of primitive, barbaric, Bronze Age Palestinian sadomasochism. In what sense?
30 seconds.
I don't need 30 seconds. I leave the question with you. In what sense is this the root? In what sense is this the way, the truth, or the life? It is instead a worship of death, a worship of power, and an abnegation of freedom. And when we have seen through it, we will start to grow to our full human height. And I hope you'll join me in the enterprise. Thank you. Was the question...
the question is, if there is no God, why spend your life and career trying to refute that? Why not just leave it alone and stay home? Fair enough?
Well, it isn't my whole career, for one thing. It's become a major preoccupation of my life, though, in the last 8 or 9 years, especially since September 11th, 2001, to try and help generate an opposition to theocracy and its depredations internationally. That is now probably my main political preoccupation, to help people in Afghanistan, in Somalia, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Israel, resist those who sincerely want to encompass the destruction of civilization and sincerely believe they have God on their side in wanting to do so. I think maybe I will take a few minutes just to say something that I find repulsive about especially monotheistic, messianic religion. With a large part of itself, it quite clearly wants us all to die. It wants this world to come to an end. You can tell the yearning for things to be over whenever you read any of its real texts or listen to any of its real, authentic spokesmen, not the sort of the pathetic apologists who sometimes masquerade for it. Those who talk, there was a famous spokesman for this in Virginia until recently, about the rapture. Say that those of us who have chosen rightly will be gathered to the arms of Jesus, leaving all of the rest of you behind. If we're in a car, it's your lookout. That car won't have a driver anymore. If we're a pilot, that's your lookout. That plane will crash. We will be with Jesus, and the rest of you can go straight to hell. The eschatological element that is inseparable from Christianity. If you don't believe that there is to be an apocalypse, there is going to be an end, a separation of the sheep and the goats, a condemnation, a final one, then you're not really a believer. And the contempt for the things of this world shows through all of them. It's well put in an old rhyme from an English exclusive brethren sect. It says that we are the pure and chosen few, and all the rest are damned. There's room enough in hell for you. We don't want heaven crammed. You can tell it when you see the extreme Muslims talk. They cannot wait. They cannot wait for death and destruction to overtake and overwhelm the world. They can't wait for what I would call, without ambiguity, a final solution. When you look at the Israeli settlers, paid for often by American tax dollars, deciding that if they can steal enough land from other people and get all the Jews into the promised land and all the non-Jews out of it, then finally the Jewish people will be worthy of the return of the Messiah. And there are Christians in this country who consider it their job to help this happen so that Armageddon can occur, so that the painful business of living as humans and studying civilization and trying to acquire learning and knowledge and health and medicine and to push back can all be scrapped, and the cult of death can take over. That, to me, is a hideous thing in eschatological terms, in end times terms, on its own, a hateful idea, a hateful practice, and a hateful theory, but very much to be opposed in our daily lives, where there are people who sincerely mean it, who want to ruin the good relations that could exist between different peoples, nations, races, countries, tribes, ethnicities, who openly say they love death more than we love life, and who are betting that with God on their side, they're right about that. So when I say, as the subtitle of my book, that I think religion poisons everything, I'm not just doing what publishers like and coming up with a provocative subtitle. I mean to say it infects us in our most basic integrity. It says we can't be moral without Big Brother, without a totalitarian permission. It means we can't be good to one another. It means we can't think without this. We must be afraid. We must also be forced to love someone who we fear. The essence of sadomasochism. The essence of abjection. The essence of the master-slave relationship. And that knows that death is coming and can't wait to bring it on. I say this is evil. And though I do some nights stay home, I enjoy more the nights when I go out and fight against this ultimate wickedness and ultimate stupidity. Thank you.